Welcome to the Undisputed podcast. I'm your host, Jenny Taft. This podcast is the full show from today's episode of Undisputed from start to finish. They've got a busy slate, so skip Shannon. Let's get to it.
Welcome to Undisputed. We are live from Los Angeles. I'm Alex Curry here with Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharpe. Happy Friday, guys. How we doing after that epic game?
We got Brady. I got Brady. That's my guy.
Look, I know my team lost last night.
Yeah.
But how about them Cowboys?
You lost.
Oh, talk about a moral victory. That was the all-timest moral victory ever played by any team in the history of sports.
Not in pro sports. You don't get moral victories in pro
They
sports.
won, but they lost.
No, they did.
Yes, they did. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, if you can have a good loss, that was a good loss. And we can't start anywhere else but last night's season openers. Tom Brady and Dak Prescott both put on shows combining for nearly 800 passing yards and 7 touchdowns. The Cowboys hung in all night and even led with under 2 minutes to go before Brady marched the Bucs down the field for a game-winning field goal to win 31-29. Now, Shannon, you said it'd be a blowout. So how much better were the Cowboys than you expected?
They were a little better than I thought they would be, Skip.
A little better.
They were a little better than I thought
You said it'd be a blowout.
But here's the thing. The Bucs defense was worse than you thought also. No, don't do that. Considering what they did to Patrick Mahomes in the Super Bowl, considering what they did to Aaron Rodgers in Lambeau Field, if you thought that was the same defense that showed up last night, you're fooling yourself. So don't do that, Skip. The Cowboys are a little better. Did you think they were going to get 4 turnovers? You didn't mention anything about turnovers all week.
I told you the defense would be at least 50% better than it was last year, which is a lot better.
So you expected 4 turnovers?
They're getting contagious with that. They started doing it at the end of last year.
The game had, you got to turn, Rojo better be careful or he going to find himself on the street. Because it seems to me every time he gets to the ball game, he does that. Remember in the Giants game, Skip, he did that. And it was a couple of weeks before he got back into the ball game. He has a history of putting the ball, and that drives Tom Brady crazy. Mistakes drive them crazy. And Leonard Fournette came in the next series and right off his hand. And the only reason he didn't get benched because they had already benched Rojo. I don't think Vaughn was active, and they got Giovanni Bernard, so they couldn't bench everybody. So Bernard came in on the last drive, Skip. But give Dallas credit. D-Law did a great job of punching the ball out, and that seemed to have given them life because they went in and scored a touchdown. And on the very next possession, Tampa throws the ball. Leonard Fournette, he's got it lined up dead to right. The only guys out there is Diggs, and he has 2 offensive linemen. So Leonard Fournette might run for a while, but it comes off his hand. Diggs is right there. Godwin is about to get the ball. They're about to get the ball to the 2-yard line. Going to punch it in, up by 9 with 2 minutes to go, and boom, fumble the ball. Give Dallas credit. I don't even count that second interception that he threw, Skip. I will always commend a quarterback if at the end of the half he attempts to throw the Hail Mary, Skip, and he gets picked. Because I've seen too many guys check it down.
Because you care about your stats.
Yeah.
Yes.
You worry about it, screw you on your passer rating with interception. And Brady said, to hell with that. Let me give my guys a chance. So with that being said, Skip, the Cowboys wasted a great opportunity because Dak threw the ball 58 times, 42 completions, over 400 yards, 3 touchdowns. He should have had no interceptions. CeeDee Lamb dropped the ball, and 4 turnovers, and you lose the game. That's what's driving them crazy. I don't know how much better we can play defensively when we take the ball away like we did. How much better can Dak play offensively? 400 yards. Really should have had no turnovers. Offensive line did a very good job. Because what they were doing, Skip, the Bucs was blitzing, and the Cowboys did a great job of picking it up, but guys were just wide open. And Dak was just dumping it to him, just playing pitch and catch. Todd Bowles in the second half said, nah, guys, let's just back up. Let's just play coverage. Let's try to make him fit the ball in the tight windows. But I'm going to give them credit, Skip. The Cowboys looked better than I thought they would offensively and defensively, special teams, Skip. You see, they ran one deep back in your territory, got it called back. Dickens took it back again. Zerline shanked 2, and he missed a PAT. Or who knows, you probably would have won this game. But at the end of the day, I said all that. You lost. You lost. 0-1. So right now you're at the bottom of the division. Somebody going to be in first place in that division, and it won't be the Cowboys after week 1.
17 games
I'm talking about this game. We're talking about the 17
Tell me when you are finished,
You take it away.
please.
You can take it away. It's your
Thank you. Finally, here we go. I'm about to unleash on you, my friend. First of all, I will step back for 1 second and say, That was an all-time classic opening night in which we saw two quarterbacks match throw for great clutch late throw. Back and forth and back and forth. It was rich. It was complex. It was edge of seat until the final swing of the leg from Ryan Suckup. A walk-off field goal to win it for the GOAT. And it was such a classic that I will be the first to admit I barely slept last night. I don't know about you, but I need some Visine because I just couldn't go to sleep.
I slept well.
Did you?
Yeah, on my Tom Brady pillow.
Yeah. The quarterback you hate and the team you hate even more. And you lost both ways last night because, to me, my final takeaway from that game was both teams won the game.
No, they did.
You, my friend, are going to be in for a very long year, starting with my Cowboys and finishing with Tom Brady and the Buccaneers. Because my Cowboys announced to the NFL world last night they are going to be a force to be reckoned with this year, not just in the East, but I think in the NFC. I predicted yesterday on this show that they would go 12-5 and run away with the East, and I think I might have undersold them. I think they might even be better than that. I saw nothing but great from my team. I loved everything I saw about my team because in the end, it is no shame on the road to lose to the defending champs because the GOAT did what the GOAT always does. He is simply the clutchest performer in the history of sports, even beyond Michael Jeffrey Jordan, because Tom has done it so much longer than Jordan was able to do it. And right before your very eyes, he worked his magic again. You cannot obviously give Thomas Edward Patrick Brady the ball with 124 left and hope to survive. And they did not survive. But again, there's no shame in that because if there were ever a moral victory, it was that one for my Cowboys. You know it and I know it because they outplayed the Buccaneers in their stadium.
Now, I disagree with that.
Well, they just did. They beat them in every way, shape, and form except on the scoreboard because one team has the GOAT and one team has a Dak Prescott who is back. But he's just getting started. And I told you yesterday, we did, will he emerge as a top 5 quarterback? And I said, yes, he's going to emerge this year. He's going to stand up and live up to $75 million that Jerry Jones is paying him because this will be his year to take a deep breath and relax and seize control of this franchise. And I told you, he crumbled under the pressure to earn his deal from a Jerry Jones who did not want to pay him and admitted after he did pay him that he overpaid him.
Right.
And I think Jerry's having second thoughts about saying that after last night because I think Jerry witnessed his future. I think Jerry now has a chance to win a Super Bowl before Dak's contract is up because I saw a Super Bowl winning leader of a quarterback, a clutch playmaker of a quarterback last night. And I'm saying, what ankle surgery? He had 2 of them. He looked pretty nimble to me. Maybe not quite as quick not quite, but he was still moving around just fine. And I will remind you, he got pressured and hit 22 different times to Brady's 8 times, 22-8. And I think he stood up to that test pretty well, right? And I don't know what that mysterious lat injury was to his arm, but his arm looked pretty great to me last night.
Yeah, I saw something totally different. I saw a lot of screens. I saw a lot of short stuff. I mean, if you look at his numbers, look at it in its totality, 35 of his 42 completions traveled 10 yards or less.
Okay. So well, I saw a couple of touchdown passes that I thought were big-time throws to Amari.
Skip, like I said, go ahead. I'm going to let you finish. Go ahead, let you finish.
All right.
Let you finish.
So the point is that in the biggest picture, it comes down to Greg the Leg Zuerlein, who had off-season back surgery and didn't get to kick in the preseason because no Dallas Cowboy played in the preseason of any note. And he missed at least 1 field goal that was makeable, 31 yards, and he missed a 60-yarder that he usually makes like an extra point, and he did, speaking of extra points, miss an extra point. So I can do, if you had Greg the Leg in full swing with no back surgery residue, I'm saying that's 7 points that we left on the table last night, and what was the final score? Do I remember? Was it 31-29? Is that right?
Yep.
31-29. Let's see. 29 plus 7. Heck, let's do 29 plus 4. I'll just do 4 points that we left on the table. And I thought he had gone completely south. And then to his credit, he sucked it up and nailed a couple of key kicks later in the game, right? Including the one that might have stood up as the game winner, except there was 1:24 left on the clock.
But let me ask you this, Skip. Do you expect every team that the Cowboys play to turn the ball over 4 times and have 11 penalties? Now, that's very uncharacteristic. Now, we expect to see a little sloppy play, especially early on, because not a lot of the starters play, regardless of the team. Now, we know Dallas didn't play really any of their starters. Tampa played some of their starters. But in probably the first month, everybody's trying to get their footing. You see how everybody was sucking wind last night? People cramping, Skip?
Well, it's because it was 80% humidity. I wouldn't want to have to slog through that one.
But guess what? You've been practicing in that. But there's a difference between practicing and playing. I would agree. You get in football shape by doing what, Skip? Playing football, which means in the preseason. And you can't simulate that in practice. And
by the way, my team did win the time of possession battle, 34 minutes to 26 minutes. So that Tampa defense sucked it up last night. Well, that was a long, hard slog for them.
Well, Skip, you get that. You hand the ball off, and they punch it out, and now Dallas has the ball. You come back the next possession.
Swing it to Fournette, and it's
It's right. So now all of a sudden, you're giving them some great opportunities. Bam.
Agreed.
And then you're getting ready to go in the end zone, and Chris Godwin fumbles the ball into the end zone, and you drive back down the field to get you a game, leading field goal.
Yep.
So now you're going to have those minutes. But Skip, think about if Chris Godwin doesn't fumble that ball, you're about to give up 38 points with 4 turnovers with 3 turnovers, and you're gonna say, man, that's the same defense. You got 4 turnovers, and you still gave up 31.
Okay, next point. Thank you for bringing that up. That 44-year-old quarterback that you've tried to send home for 5 straight years, he looks like he's 24. He is getting better the older he gets. I have never, ever, ever seen anything like it, and I will never, ever see anything like it again. He is the first. He is the last. He is one of one. On opening night, he put on a show of a masterpiece last night. That was one that you put up on the mantle. I don't know what he did wrong last night. I can't see anything. We're going to talk about this in more depth later in the show, but the QBR that he got was a 65, which is scale 0 to 100. It is insultingly low because I don't know what he did wrong last night. The 2 interceptions were not his fault. Right. You gave it up. The Hail Mary, you're just saying, I'm going to fling it, and it's a jump ball, and either Gronk's going to come down with it or one of their DBs is going to get it on a carom, and they got it on a carom, right?
I live with that. I don't care.
Okay, cancel that one out. And then the little flip is going to be a screen to Fournette. It looked like he was going to run forever.
Yeah, he got 2 blockers with Diggs.
Okay, and it just goes right off his hands. That is not Tom Brady's fault.
Right.
I'm not saying it was like a perfect pass, but it was good enough right there to catch it. Right?
Leonard Fournette is not a natural catcher.
He is not a natural catcher.
He's not Alvin Kamara. He's not Christian McCaffrey catching the football.
Okay, and then I'm going to quote from my friend Jarrett Bell in today's USA Today. The Bucs had 4 turnovers, 11 penalties. That'll drive the goat crazy. And here's the key quote. At least a half dozen dropped passes. A half dozen dropped passes? Well, the GOAT was the GOAT, like all time. I don't know that you've ever seen him play a better regular season game than this.
You saw the one Godwin drop.
Yeah, okay.
And that was a more difficult catch than the one he caught in Green Bay. Skip, remember he was spinning around. He ended up catching it.
If we could see that, that's late, and that's with 5 minutes left in the game. And the point of that one was that this one is the game breaker. If you catch it, you might score, and it's just going to be history. The game is going to be over at that point.
But see, Skip, people criticizing Tom. Once he sees the coverage, he should start getting wide. Tom is throwing it over that shoulder to keep him away from the safety. Once he takes off, if he starts to get wide, now Tom can hit him up the rail.
You know, honestly, I don't know that you can throw a better ball than that.
Right.
I just don't know. I know he had to reorient. He had to change direction.
Yes, but you got to catch it still.
Okay, it hit him right in the hands.
Yes.
So my point is, you did that one, and then if we see an earlier one to AB, these are both big third down. These are both third down throws, and I'm saying, seriously, that happened? We've got the one This is to AB early in the game when it's a 3rd and 5, and he hits him just in a hole in the zone. And this is a big play. This is going to be a big play. And AB, they could have gone and scored. They had to punt after that. Right? Okay, so there's another one.
You're in field goal range at least.
At least field goal range. But my point is, Jared Bell says by his eye test, at least a half dozen drops.
Right.
Well, so you're up against the GOAT at his greatest and a Tampa defense that pressured Dak 22 times to Brady's 8. And remember, I'm playing with no Zach Martin. He is, to me, my best offensive lineman because he's a little bit younger and still stronger than Ty Smith, who played very well last night, or Lyle Collins, who stuck it out, made it through the whole game and played pretty well. And my 2 younger guards played okay. The 2 Connors played okay, except Connor Williams had a huge late holding penalty.
That was another one that they didn't call.
I agree. but he's trying to block Vita Vea, and Vita Vea just runs him over. I mean, it's a mismatch of size because Connor Williams is an undersized guard to start with, and he just gets bulldozed.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened. He just got bulldozed.
All right, so my point is, you're up against a defense that is just nasty, that at the end of the year last year was playing at the highest level of any defense. And to be able to at least keep Dak upright, he only went down via Shaq Barrett one time in the game. I was astounded by that you don't have Zach Martin and you kept him upright except for 1 sack. Again, he got pressured 22 times, but at least he was able to stand tall and get rid of the ball and keep you in the game.
I really like the game plan. Skip, they just abandoned the run. They're like, we're not going to run. We're going to run here or there just to let them know that we can run the ball, but we're not really.
Their best road grader is Zach Martin, and Zeke said the other day he's the best player on the best player, and we run behind Zach. But Zeke to Zach.
I still don't believe they're going to run the football, but what it did is that they used their short passing game as the run. All those jailbreak screens to Amari and the CeeDee Lamb, that was their running game, kind of like the West Coast offense and Bill Walsh. He said the short passing game is our running game. It's an extension of the running game, and that's what you saw. They were trying to bring pressure, and you find guys just sitting in the hole. I'm like, Todd, why you keep bringing pressure? You're leaving guys wide open. But I've always felt the secondary was the weak link. That front 7, if they can get pressure, now that back 4 is okay. But if they don't get pressure, those guys are really average across the back, Skip. And what it also tells me is that I don't care who your quarterback is. If you don't pressure that quarterback, what Dak did, what Tom Brady did, 30 out of 32 guys will light you up just like that if you don't pressure.
I'm going to remind you, early on, Sean Murphy bunting on the first CeeDee touchdown catch. Dislocated his elbow. They said he's going to be okay and shouldn't be out too long. It looked pretty bad to me. But again, you're losing a starting corner, and they had to go with Jamel Dean, who played a lot last year and pick 6 to Aaron Rodgers.
He's a tall corner, which doesn't move really well. He's really tall. You want cornerbacks not as tall, Skip, and you want them to be able to be fluid through the hip to open and run. His change of direction is not very good. Now, when Murphy Buntings did that, I tweeted, I did my elbow the exact same way. I missed 4 weeks. And people like, 4 weeks? Yeah, I missed 4 weeks. Because they were treating me, and I asked Greek, can I order these equipment for myself? So everything that they had at work, Skip, I ordered for myself, treated myself around the clock.
Maybe Murphy Bunting is just tougher than you are. Maybe he'll come back faster. I don't know.
Neville Gallimore dislocated his.
He did. I got it. Jordan Whitehead has a hamstring pull. He is the starting other safety to Antoine Winfield. He did not play. Mike Edwards played for him, and then Mike Edwards cramped and was out, and they went all the way down to Andrew Adams from the practice squad. They had to elevate him from the practice squad yesterday. And there he is, and he's in the game, grabbing Blake Jarwin and holding him for a pass interference. And then he also made a play on Zeke. And by the way, this is another play that was a key turning point. If we could see
this. That's the game right here.
It could be, because this is the opening drive of the second half, and you can seize control of this. 3rd and 2, and they run a little wishbone pitch.
Blake Jarwin, what are you doing?
And the point is, the block is completely whiffed, just completely whiffed. But once upon a time, I got to tell you, once upon a time, the explosive Ohio State Zeke, he would have made the practice squad miss. That's Andrew Adams.
Skip, you got a tight end on a safety. He's supposed to take that safety and walk him out the back of the end zone and dump him on his back. If you want to watch the game, buy a damn ticket. Son, block him. What you looking around for?
Nobody ever accused Blake Jarwin of being a great blocker.
Skip, you got to Skip. That's a tight end on a safety.
All right. okay? And he missed all of last year and has played very little in the preseason, so he missed his block. But there was a day when Ezekiel Elliott would have run Andrew Adams over or made him miss. One or the other, he would have gotten the ball to pay dirt because that's who he was and what he used to do. And I think he's going to be much better than he was a year ago. But we both said yesterday they will probably abandon the run, and they did. And what did he end up with? He
39?
He had 39 total yards, but I had 39 because he caught 6.
Right.
So he had 39 because he had 2 catches for 6 yards. So
11 carries for 33, and one of them was a 13-yard burst up the sideline.
Okay, so the rest of them averaged 2 yards. 10 for 20 were the rest of them. Okay, so he was little to no factor. But you want to talk about blitz pickup last night? He was jacking people up, including Devin White. One time he just rocked Devin White.
And that's what I tell you. But what did he do, Skip? He closed the distance. He saw where he was. He said, I'm going to meet you in the hole. You let that guy get a head start, and you try to sit back there, he's going to sit you in Dak Prescott's lap. Okay. Zeke is unbelievable at blitz pickup.
Maybe at the top of the list.
Yeah, there's not very many better than he is at this.
Emmitt Smith used to be the same, and he's right there with Emmitt Smith.
But that's want to, Skip.
Okay, so now my man CeeDee Lamb, I have predicted he will emerge as a star this year, and he had star catches last night and unstar drops last night because early on, he dropped 2 in the first series. I thought one was underthrown a little bit, but you got to go down and catch it. It's just a very catchable ball. He didn't quite get any mustard. You got to catch that. If you're the guy I think you are, you got to catch it. And then on the next play, you really got to catch that one.
Yeah, you got to catch.
Okay, and then he had the throw over the middle in traffic, and I know it's crazy in there, and a lot of bodies flying, but it was a rocket shot.
You know what's about to happen, Skip.
Okay, you can't tell me this ball didn't have some stuff on it, some juice on it.
I thought that was Dak's best throw of the night, Skip.
It was his best throw of the night in between 3 Buccaneers. That is a dangerous ball, and CeeDee couldn't quite hang on. He knew he was going to get rocked, but he rocks people too. He is very physical.
The thing is, Skip, when you're up high like that, I really never I didn't like the ball to cross my face.
Yep.
And what I mean by that, try to catch it like this. I want to turn by this because that safety, I want to take that shot in the back.
It's not an easy catch.
No.
There's nothing easy about it, but if you're the guy, I think you are, the guy we saw in burst because he caught the touchdown, and then he had a huge 31-yard catch late in the game to set up the field goal.
Right.
That's the guy I'm betting on this year.
Yeah.
Okay, so speaking of that last drive, here's the problem. The game finally, to the bitter end, it boils down to this. They get the ball at their 10-yard line with 4:52 left, and Dak was Brady-esque. And here he comes, and he converts a 3rd and 6. I'm sorry, they got a penalty on 3rd and 6, and then they converted 3rd and 1. And here he comes, and he keeps going, and they got the hold, but they got out of it because CeeDee, remember, that was 3rd and 11 at the 35, and CeeDee catches a 31-yarder.
Right.
I thought he might score on that one. But anyway, it gets down to 1st and 10 at the 34, and he throws one over CeeDee's head, which was the first play. Here it is. He was just covered, and he just threw it away.
Right thing,
I know, he was all over him. And then they try to hit Zeke on a try to catch him off guard, catch him asleep, and he got 4. And then on 3rd and 6, guess what happened? Connor Williams holds, and Zeke goes nowhere on a little swing pass.
He saved him.
Yeah, and so the point is, now it's 3rd and 16 at the 40, and all he could do was just dump it to Amari, who got 10 yards. Well, now you're stuck because if you have to take this home. Those 3 plays right there have to be executed where you just go chunk, 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 first down. Because you got to either eat the clock, you have to eat the clock.
There you go.
The GOAT is just...
It's got to be a walk-off.
Hey, Brady was over there warming up because he knew what was about to happen.
Yeah.
And to the defense's credit, it made plays, like on the CeeDee play, he was just flat out, he was suffocated. There's nowhere to go.
Right.
And all of a sudden, it's 1:24 left, and to Greg the Leg's credit, he made the field goal.
Right.
Okay, so I was happy with that, but here came Tom Brady.
You got to make it a walk-off.
Yep.
You got to
have to.
You got it because he has a timeout in 127. So that's about 2 minutes to him.
I agree. How about them Cowboys, though?
All right, guys, we have so much more on this game to get to. Like, did the Bucs get away with pass interference? And how impressive was Dak? That's all coming up next.
No mercy, no mercy, no mercy. And I won't back down, and I won't back down.
Tom Tom Brady led the Bucs on a late game winning drive, but there was one key play that had many Cowboy fans crying foul. Brady found Chris Godwin for 24 yards on a back shoulder throw to put the Bucs in field goal range, and Cowboys corner Jordan Lewis ended up falling down after a slight contact to the receiver. Now, the rules analyst on the broadcast said it should have been offensive pass interference. So, Shannon, was this an offensive play?
I don't believe so. Skip, it looks like they lined up in a 3-by-1. Godwin is in the slot, and he knows he's going to get a back shoulder throw. Now, he's on the left-hand side, which means his back shoulder is going to be his right shoulder. So he's going to have to. He's fighting with Jordan Lewis. I think that's you said Jordan Lewis. That's Jordan Lewis.
He's a slot corner.
Right. Yep. So he knows he's going to have to give Tom Brady a throw to his right shoulder. So he's going to have to crossover fight and open up. And that's what he did. I mean, they're fighting. Look at Jordan Lewis has his arms on him. And basically, all he does is just crosses over, gives him a back shoulder throw. Tom put it right on the money. That's an unbelievable throw. Give Godwin credit that he gave him some room on the sideline. And Jordan Lewis just slipped down. I mean, I guess as it started to get late tonight, Skip, you know how it is in the South. Mm-hmm. And the dude starts to get on the field as it gets later because it was hot during the day, and the field gets slick. And so now all of a sudden guys are going to start falling down, and it's a lot more difficult on the DB who doesn't know where the receiver is going as opposed to a receiver that knows where I'm going. But I didn't think that was an offensive pass interference. It wasn't. He didn't extend. Yeah, I mean, we're fighting for a position. You're entitled to your position. I'm entitled to my position. Yep. You just fell down. But I thought it was a great route by Godwin. I thought it was an even better throw by TB. And it was a great play, and they needed it because now that set up basically a walk-off field goal.
It was the play of the night. It was GOAT being GOAT. It was a play that they've clearly practiced even in the public park during the pandemic 1,000 times because it is a timing throw.
Yes.
The ball is gone before he back shoulders, before he stops, breaks his route off.
Yes.
And the ball has to be there before even Chris turns to look.
Correct.
Okay, so now let's frame this with, as we just pointed out, as Alex pointed out, that NBC's former ref analyst said, definitely pass interference because he extended. But Chris Godwin said we were just hand fighting. Yeah, that's all that was, okay? Mike McCarthy said after the game, to his credit, he said, I don't want to see a game decided that way. Well, we go back and forth on this show. If it's in the first quarter or the fourth quarter, does it matter? Was it extension? Was it a clear push-off pass interference? Well, Mike McCarthy, I think, thought to his eye, it was close but no cigar. Like you can't call that. And finally, Jordan Lewis, to his credit, said it was a toss-up call. Like it could have gone either way. So when it happened and I saw the first replay, my first thought was, if they had called it, I would not, jump out the window because the point was it was close enough to call. But I'm still okay that they did not call it because there's not clear extension on this play. The arm doesn't go all the way out. It's more of a forearm.
Skip, it's like, watch what he does with his left arm. He tries to get it over because he got to open because it's going to be a back shoulder, and his back shoulder is his right shoulder.
Okay. So Jordan Lewis's problem is he's already a little bit fooled. Like he's a little bit fooled, and then it becomes the equivalent of a flop to me because once he knows he's beaten, once he looks up and like, oh, you know what?
It's the Jordan Byron Russell. He's already off balance, so it looks worse.
Just go ahead and fall down and hope that you get the call. And Jordan Lewis is a shrewd little operator. He's been around now for, 4 years. He was a third-round pick out of Michigan, and I like him. And he knows how to play, and he's made a lot of big, key, little plays for this team. And he was trying to just get the call, but it's not blatant enough, and I'm sure Cowboy Nation's going to hate me for saying this, but it's not blatant enough to say, hey, you had to call that. It changed the game. I don't think it changed the game. And the play was executed so brilliantly on both ends. Because Godwin's a Pro Bowl receiver. And again, to be able to stop and gather yourself and balance up and catch the ball, not the simplest play.
But Skip, what's most impressive is you watch how Tom Brady's offensive line passed these stunts off. If we can go back and look at this from the beginning, that's where it got started. You look at the job that they do. If we can go back and watch this, look at the job that offensive line does. Because they're unbelievable on this play right here. Look at this, Skip.
I thought they were.
Look at this.
They're just.
They're like, oh, nah, we good.
They're just stoning everybody. Listen, they are really good. They're top 3, and I thought they did a sensational job against a Dan Quinn who was sending some thunder.
Right.
He was. He didn't back off. They didn't try to play it safe. They didn't just play coverage.
No.
Micah would go every once in a while.
But Skip, if you think about it, Tom Brady almost falls down, and it almost gets intercepted. If Trayvon Diggs is a little taller, he tipped it, and it ended up Mike Evans.
He almost caught it too. He had a shot.
But Skip, if you notice this, Tom doesn't have the rapport with Mike Evans that he has with AB and Chris Godwin.
Really? I don't know. Well, Mike Evans was their leading receiver last year.
I don't believe he's going to be their leading receiver this year.
Okay, but the point is, none of those guys seem to care. Maybe Antonio cares and he keeps it to himself, but at least he keeps it to himself about who gets the sugar on any given night. It just depends on coverage. Because if you go into a game, if you look at the stats last year, you say, I have to stop that big joker because he's 6 feet 5 inches tall and I got to figure out how to neutralize.
But you also have to understand, AB missed 8 games.
He did.
Here's the thing that AB has working against him. Trayvon Diggs seems to have followed Mike Evans. So now you take your first best corner, put him on Mike Evans. Your second best corner, put him on Chris Godwin.
Yep.
You want your third, fourth best corner dealing with AB? Do you understand what AB is?
Much of the night, it was my second corner, Anthony Brown, so it was Brown on Brown, and their Brown was getting my Brown.
It was Brown on Brown crime.
Maybe. That's a good line, actually. But the point is, I look at the defensive stats, and Anthony Brown led my team with 11 tackles. Well,
you don't want that, Skip. That's your quarterback.
Okay, but at least he's fighting. You know, like he at least he wasn't quitting.
No,
he was getting beaten, but then at least he was making plays.
Yeah. Here's the way you look at it, Skip. If I look at the box score and I see my corner or my safety.
Okay, well, guess who also tied him with 11 tackles? My new safety, Jaron Kearse, who's not even a starter, but he was like a nickel safety.
Right.
He gets 11 stops. Really?
That good. That means there's a lot of completions going on. There's a lot of passes. You want your linebackers to be up there in the 10, 11, 12 tackles.
All right, so I told you yesterday, in the end, heart of hearts, I was rooting for the Dallas Cowboys.
I know you were.
I love Brady, but I have loved my Cowboys way, way, way longer than I ever loved Thomas Edward Patrick Brady Jr.
Right.
So in the end, even I, as a Cowboy diehard, I couldn't work up any anger over this call because it's so close. It's ticky-tack. If you throw the flag, it's like, okay.
In a game that's been hard fought like this, and I think, hey, there's like, man, do I really want to interject myself into a situation like this? Now, I agree with you. If it's a blatant pass interference, offsides in the first quarter, still call in the fourth quarter, no matter what the score is. But, Skip, I just didn't think this rose to the level that this should have been an offensive PI. I thought they did a great job of a no call. Both guys are hand fighting, trying to get free. And it was just fortunate that Chris Godwin made a great play.
And here's my final analysis of Tom Brady. Even if you threw the flag for offensive PI, well, it was 2nd and 10 at the 42. Now it's going to be what? 2nd and 20? Would it be
30? Yeah, 30. It's going to be 2nd and 20.
20, yeah, 2nd and 20. Move it back 10 yards. Well, it's Tom Brady. You don't think he's going to figure this out?
It's not like it was 3rd and 10, and all of a sudden you're going to make it 3rd and 20.
The game. Okay, got it.
Okay, look at you being objective for the first time in 5 years. You objected when it comes to something about the Cowboys.
But I'm so happy with the way they played, I don't even care that they lost.
I think you got
This is the first time in history I don't care that they lost because they won.
Did they win?
Yes, they did.
They did.
My quarterback won.
Well, one thing's for sure is that Dak Prescott left no doubt last night that the ankle and recent shoulder injury will hamper him this season. The Cowboys quarterback went 42 of 58, both tying career highs, to go along with 403 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 1 interception that went off CeeDee Lamb's hands. So, Shannon, give Dak a letter grade.
Skip, I gave him a B-. And
B-?
Yeah, I gave him a B-. Skip, he looked a lot better than I thought he would. Although I still don't believe that showed us 100% because I heard them say, Al Michaels said Dak Prescott is going to get an MRI every 2 weeks to make sure. Now, you tell me who gets something every 2 weeks if everything's okay. You tell me the doctor that orders a CAT scan. Say, I want you to get a CAT scan every 2 weeks. I want you to get an X-ray every 2 weeks. I want you to get an MRI every 2 weeks. If everything's okay. That's my first sign. Skip, when I look at this, he threw 58 times, 403 yards, average under 7 yards per attempt. If he keeps that up, that would be 23rd. Guess who that would have been tied with last year? Mitchell Trubisky and Gardner Minshew. 45 of his 58 passes were less than 10 yards down the field. 35 of his completions were 10 yards or less. He only completed 3 passes of 15 yards or more, which was tied for the second lowest last season. So that tells you, what was he doing, Skip? Dinking and what? Dinking and dacking, and you know what was happening. This is why I gave him the B-, Skip. Red zone. Because you told me last year when Aaron Rodgers got down there, he didn't get the ball in there. Tom Brady got into the red zone, he finished it off. And that was the difference in this ball game. When Tom Brady got that, Tom Brady was 3 of 5 in the red zone. Dak Prescott was 1 of 4. You cash another one of those in, Skip, we might be having a different conversation. And maybe instead of you being happy talking about a moral victory, you might have had an actual victory. But because he did not get the ball into the end zone, it's his responsibility. That's what you told me. See, it's on the quarterback. It's on the quarterback. Mahomes, Rodgers, all these guys don't get it in. It's on them because Thomas, Edric, Patrick, Bennett gets it in the end zone. So that's why I get... Hey, Skip, Amari's still their best receiver. He's still their best receiver.
For a little while. For a little while.
Maybe you talk about a little while. You mean maybe the next year CeeDee Lamb's going to come?
The next game or two.
Amari's where it at, Skip. But I gave him a B-. He did look good, better than I thought, but I'm still not convinced. I'm still not 100% that shoulder is 100.
What you just heard from my man Shannon Sharpe was wishful thinking.
What?
My man Shannon Sharpe is hoping against hope that something does go a little bit awry with Dak's shoulder, that he does have some irritation, inflammation problem with it.
Let me ask you a question. Having covered the league 40 years, you covered the Cowboys, you covered the 49ers. How many times did you hear of a player getting an MRI every 2 weeks?
I've never heard of this injury for a quarterback. Right. So it's a brand new world. It's a new technology world in which they are utilizing the technology at their fingertips because for those who don't know, MRI, magnetic resonance imaging, that it's a soft tissue 3D view where you can actually see how the muscle is holding up. You can look at it all the way around.
You can see tears, you can see inflammation, yes.
So they are trying to monitor its progress or regress. Like just to make sure, because they've not dealt with this before. It is a quote-unquote baseball pitcher's injury, which is why they sought the counsel back when it first happened of the Texas Rangers staff and the New York Yankees staff. I don't get it. It's mysterious to me. I thought it was a season record for me, but I do not mind them monitoring because they have to. Did you see him flinch one time last night? Did you see him grimace at all last night after a throw? Did he ever trot to the sideline after a third down misfire, kind of shaking his arm like, I don't know if I got this? Did you ever see the trainers talking to him like, are you okay? You feeling a little discomfort? I saw none of the above. I saw no discomfort in ankle or arm last night. And in the end, I am giving my man Dakota Rain Prescott, and I'm going to spell that middle name R-E-I-G-N, Rain, as in rain over, right?
It didn't happen.
Yep. Dakota Rain Prescott, I give an A+.
You can't give him no A+. They lost.
A+ because the reason for the plus is, did you see what he said to Tom Brady as he walked off the field at the end of the game?
Did they Tom, you the GOAT?
No, he didn't say he was the GOAT. They exchanged pleasantries. They complimented each other.
Hold on, Tom.
They don't know each other. Tom, if he wins, he's
I got it. Okay.
He is a sore loser. He's the worst loser ever. Show me a good loser, I'll just show you a loser, right?
Okay.
So the point is that what I saw at the end of the game rocked me because Tom was like, blah, blah, blah. It's just, pleasant.
Hey, good game. Congratulations. Stay healthy.
Yeah, way to go. I'm glad you bounced back from your surgery. Blah, 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 blah.
Yes.
And then as Tom starts to depart, Dak kind of leans back in and says, we'll see you again. We'll see you again. And it kind of stops Tom in his tracks for a second. He looks back over his shoulder like, oh, okay. I don't think he loved it, but it's like not the worst thing you can say because you're complimenting him like you're going to get there and we're going to get there because obviously we're talking about the Super Bowl out here in Los Angeles.
Well, he's talking about they're going to would have to go through one another in order to get there.
No, I mean, yeah, right. But he's talking about the way down the road.
We'll see.
Yeah.
The playoffs.
We'll see you in the playoffs is exactly right.
Right.
Well, that took some nerve from Dak. And by the way he's been talking and what I saw in episode 5 of Hard Knocks, I believe he believes that with all his heart and soul. I don't think it's phony baloney. I told you, any speech that needs to be made to my team should not come from the head coach or certainly the owner, general manager, or anyone but the quarterback.
Okay.
Because the quarterback is a natural-born leader. And I'm giving him A+ because I don't know what he did wrong last night. He's coming off career-threatening ankle surgery. He plays no football of any magnitude or meaning for 333 days.
Yes.
He's got an arm injury that restricts him from even camp drills. He plays 0 preseason games. I was out of my mind about that. At least let him throw a little bit in the final preseason game. And he gets thrown to the Wolves in Tampa. They can flat out get after you. And he's under fire all night. Only sacked once, but pressured 22 times to Brady's 8 times. And you want to talk about standing tall in the pocket? You want to talk about making pinpoint accurate throws under duress in the pocket where you have to slightly change your arm angle because people are flailing at you? Well, what did he do wrong? And Shannon, I never said he had a magnum arm. I never said he had a cannon or a rifle.
But he had more zip than what he showed last night.
Well, you saw it. You said his best throw of the night to CeeDee that should have been caught over the middle. You don't think that had some mustard, some sauce on it?
Yeah, a little
Can
something.
we see that again just for the heck of it? I got to see it because it took my breath away. I said, Dak is back on that throw. This is a rifle shot. That ball's got some stuff on it. That ball should have been caught. And you want to talk about gut? That's a guts throw.
Hold on, Skip. You said the man hadn't, played in all this time. He 333 days. How much Dak making? Dak makes what? $75 million.
$75 million this year, including his bonus. Obviously.
So if I do that over 18 weeks, Dak makes about $4.3 million a week. I don't want to hear anything about he been out. I want you to deliver. Deliver.
But the facts are he was out.
The facts are you lost. The facts are you was 1 for 4 in the red zone. That's what you told me, Skip.
The facts are 42 of 58 for 403 against maybe the best pass rush in football.
Okay. So when I set it up, the columns, win, loss. Tell me the column that the Cowboys are in. The win or the L column?
There's another column that got created last night. It's called moral victory. Listen, if ever a game qualified as moral victory, that did for my team.
You can't get moral victories in pro sport.
What was your prediction? Like 40 to 14?
No, I had 31-17.
31-17, but you used the term blowout.
Yes.
You said it will be a blowout.
Had AB not dropped the fumbles that Skip, I didn't Skip. Now you know the Patriots. They don't really. I mean, the Patriots. I keep saying Patriots. The Bucs. The turnovers. Remember, Tom Brady was losing his mind early in training camp. He was like, guys, we got to be better. 11 penalties, 4 turnovers. You're supposed to lose that game. And guess what? It started the fourth quarter. They were down 2 points. The Cowboys went 3 and out. He threw the ball 3 times to Amari Cooper for 3 yards, 1 for 3 for 2 yards. Incomplete on 2nd and 3rd down. That was Dak. That was your guy. With an opportunity to go ahead and take the lead there, he went 3 and out.
It's the Buccaneers. It's the team that I predicted yesterday is going to win every game, including the Super Bowl.
You feel comfortable still with that?
Yes, I do. And we're going to talk about it in depth in just a minute. But 20-0 is incredibly achievable for that team. That could wind up being as tough a game as they're going to have all year. And they got punched right in the mouth, right out of the box by the Dallas Cowboys because it was 7-0 on a Dak to CeeDee where you're like, whoa.
I believe at the end of the day, I think the Rams defense will be better than the Bucs. I think Indy's defense will be better than the Bucs. They got some. There's some games in there that could cause them some problems. I'll give you credit. They played well, but the thing is, Skip.
Okay, question. What happened last year when New Orleans visited Tampa? Remember that game?
Yeah.
Don't tell me that AB plays defense. That was his first game there, but the defense was all there, all those same pieces. Todd Bowles was still coordinating, and Drew Brees ran them off their own field. Remember that? What happened when Sean McVay with Jared Goff visited
Threw for
Tampa?
376.
Yeah, and ran them off their own field. It's the same defense.
But that's what I'm telling you.
You have to bring it to a boil. It wasn't ready to boil.
But here's the thing. While your process of bringing it to a boil, there's a chance somebody gets you along the way before you get to boiling. Because you don't just put the pot on the stove and it starts boiling. It takes a while for it to get boiling.
Okay, and remember, I haven't even brought this up. My third best receiver, Michael Gallup, went out, say, maybe halfway through the game. He had an ankle turn. And I hope he's going to be okay for Chargers at Chargers in 10 days.
Yeah.
But the point is, Dak is doing all that damage with 1/3 of his trio out. And early on, Michael Gallup was doing some damage.
Right.
So my point to you is, what did Dak do wrong? He's up against the GOAT and that defense. They were flying at him.
You got to admit, that defense last night looked nothing like it did against...
What if it's because Dak made it look bad? What if it's because Amari and CeeDee made it look bad?
Skip, but I told you, I said, I don't want to take anything away from them from the Super Bowl, but I believe the game... I'm not saying the Chiefs would have won, but Dak wasn't running like Patrick Mahomes was running. That defense didn't get off the Dak like it got after Aaron Rodgers when Bakhtiari and they had to shuffle the offensive line.
What if they tried and failed? What if we just blocked? What if we just stoned them? We did all night.
So what happened? You do know Indy has a better offensive line than Tampa.
Okay.
I mean, has a better offensive line than Dallas.
Well, I couldn't tell last night because it looked pretty good, and my best offensive lineman returns for Chargers.
Well, guess what? Their best offensive lineman will be back. Quentin Nelson will be back.
Okay.
They're loaded. From an offensive line now. Obviously, the quarterback might be,
They're stuck with Carson.
There you go. Now watch out walk into him. Walk into him might do. Yep. He might one up Dak. He might throw for 415 against Tampa.
But he's a throw it to him, too. He's a throw-up quarterback because he spills all over the carpet.
But, Skip, all I'm saying is that we might be having a different discussion if you're not 1 for 4 in the red zone. If at the start of the fourth quarter you don't go 3 and out when you're down by 2. That's why, and plus you lost the game. You can't give somebody an A+. Skip, you can't give somebody 100 if they gotten 2 answers on the test wrong. How?
Okay. All I know is degree of difficulty with no preparation against that team on banner night, where they're jacked out of their minds to make a statement. That was no fluke a year ago. And I think they were ready to make that statement, except Dallas wouldn't let them. And the guy who really wouldn't let them was my quarterback. And I told you yesterday, I will not be at all surprised if by the end of the year, Dak Prescott has emerged as a top 5 quarterback. He is right now 5th in odds to be the MVP.
Right.
And last night, that looked MVP-ish to me.
Well, let's just hope Rojo's not a double agent, because I don't know if he might have been a double agent because we didn't see him anymore after D-Law punched that ball out. That got Dallas skipped. That put Dallas on a short field because it looked like, and I said, what did I say? Tampa would struggle on the first drive, and then they'll get the ball and go right back down the field. They had seemed to have gotten a rhythm. And once Tom Brady gets a rhythm, what you try to do is keep Tom on the sideline, because once he gets a rhythm, you want him to cool down. You let him get right back on the field and go at it again. Now and Dallas did what? Take the ball away, and now all of a sudden we got a whole different ball game. Because it was about to be 14-0, and then it was 14-0. We kick dust up in your face.
Dak Prescott is going to make you eat a lot of crow. I hope. Do you like it fried or?
I like it baked. Put it in a crock pot for me. But I tell you what, as long as I get to come in here and talk about them L's, he can throw for 500. But I just need them L's attached to it.
They just played by far the hardest game on their schedule.
No, they didn't.
Yep.
No, they didn't. Oh, no.
What, like at Washington? Your pick to win.
You know how division games are. Even when the Cowboys were great winning Super Bowls, Philly and the Giants and Washington gave them fits, didn't they? You know that. You know how it worked.
All right, guys, let's talk about the other quarterback, because was Brady being left short on one key stat last night? We'll explain that next.
No mercy, no mercy, no mercy, and I won't back down.
Now, Tom Brady got the win last night over Dak Prescott, and both quarterbacks threw for over 350 yards and combined for 7 touchdowns. But neither player had a QBR higher than 75. And even with the game-winning drive, Brady's QBR was just 65. That's 9 lower than Dak. So, Skip, are you surprised that Brady's QBR was so low?
not only am I shocked, but I am offended by it.
Oh, you're offended.
You know how I feel about Brady. You know how sick and tired I get of all the Brady hate out there operating just under the surface and sometimes way over the surface. The disrespect, the discrediting. And this was the essence of it, because I'm just not sure what Tom Brady did wrong last night. So, Shannon, before I look at the QBRs, and for those who don't get this, it's 0 to 100, and it's a formula. There's some subjectivity within the formula, because it takes a human being to say that happened, that didn't happen, but it tells the whole story of how the quarterback played. So I'm going to, again, repeat what my friend, the great Jarrett Bell, wrote in USA Today. He called it an ugly win for the Buccaneers and said the Bucs had 4 turnovers, 11 penalties, high for them, and at least a half dozen drop passes. I didn't see that many, but I saw enough to know that QBR should take that into account. So I always try to guess, what will the QBRs be for the 2 quarterbacks? And I thought it was such a classic battle between the 2 quarterbacks that I thought both would be very high. I thought it was possible Dak would equal Brady, but I thought Brady might be a tick higher than Dak, just because I couldn't think of anything Brady did wrong in the game. So when I'm talking about high QBRs, it has to be around 90-ish.
Oh, I know they wouldn't need to get to 90, not with an interception on their resume.
All right, but the 2 Brady interceptions, were they his fault?
No, but the QBR doesn't factor that in. They just see interceptions.
They can. They can subjectively factor in that you can disqualify the interception.
Right.
So what did we see in the interceptions?
Yeah.
We saw a little flip pass, to
Leonard Fournette.
And he breaks out of the backfield. And again, is it like the greatest throw ever? But it's just, he's an NFL running back who catches a lot of balls.
Right.
That's just, it hits you in both hands. You got to catch it.
Yeah.
And you get a bad carom and it goes right to Trevon Diggs.
Right.
And you know the rest of the story. You give him an instant field goal. Then here's the Hail Mary at the end of the half. And he throws it with all his might, and he gets it to the back of the end zone, hoping Gronk can go up and get it. And
that's 60 yards. He threw that ball 60 yards.
60 yards, and the point
maybe
is,
a little further.
It's just a jump ball, and you hope Gronk goes up first, and he couldn't find it, and now the DBs are just, it's a tip drill, and they're tipping around, and all of a sudden, my team winds up with it. So I disqualify that interception also. So in the end, it's 4 touchdowns. And remember, a big play in the game is the throw to Godwin for 11 yards.
Right.
And for a second, I thought Godwin's going to score. And Kazee, my new safety from Atlanta, strips him.
Yep.
Well, so help me out. That could have been 5 touchdowns, right?
But you can't factor that in what could have been, Skip.
Okay, but I'm saying
he
did his part to throw 5 touchdown passes. So in the end, I'm saying, how could you say he had a 65 QBR? Where are you docking him? There's the
strip.
Yeah, and it was a huge play. And again, this is not like a sensational throw, but speaking of great throws, let's just look at the drops first, okay? So 2 of the key drops are, if we look at Antonio Brown, it's earlier in the game, and it's a big 3rd down. It's 3rd and 5 at the Dallas 40, and AB sort of sits down in the zone, and Brady finds him, and it just hits him right in the hands. Well, that's Antonio Brown.
Yeah.
He does not do that, okay? So my point is, that's a drop, and that's big yardage and a 3rd down conversion. So QBR might dock you because you're only 5 of 11 on 3rd downs. Well, that should have been 6 right there. And,
the one he had to Godwin was a 3rd down.
Let's go to Godwin. Let's go to Godwin. And what a sweet throw this is. I don't know that you can throw a better pass than that. And again, he got turned around a little bit, but it hits him in both hands. And Shannon Sharpe's going to catch that. I'm sorry, you're just going to, you might put that one in your back pocket. And so there are 2 huge drops, and that was 3rd and 10 at the Dallas 47. It's just a game changer. It's a game over kind of play because he might break it and score. Okay? So, and at that point, it's 28-26. So all of a sudden, you'd be up 35-26 That's pretty early in the fourth quarter. 12 minutes left, but they might just pour
Well,
on.
the one definitely that would have probably put the game away is when Godwin fumbled on the 1 yard, fumbled the ball into the end zone. Because, Skip, that would have put him up 9.
Okay.
So now we're talking about you got to get a touchdown and probably going to have to onside kick it in order to get it back.
Now, 2 more points, then I'm going to hand the ball to you. But the first Gronk touchdown pass, I know it was only 2 yards, but was Brady not nimble on this? They rolled him out.
Yeah.
It's got a little bootleg going, right? If we could see Brady roll out and throw it on the run, I thought he looked pretty good.
Yeah.
Right? He looked pretty mobile for him.
He got a knee brace on, Skip.
Okay, all right. I
thought the knee was, he felt so comfortable he ain't going to read the knee.
All right, but is it a sleeve or a brace?
No, he got the brace. You see it on his left leg?
Is it the brace?
Yeah,
I
he
guess
got the
it
brace.
is. Okay, all right. That's a good point that you make. Because he said he was going to take it off and feel completely free.
No, Skip, he had it on too long.
Okay. I'm going to remind you, he had off-season knee, it's reconstructive surgery. It ruptured. He had a ruptured medial collateral ligament. So my point to you is, how many, we see NBA players that they miss a big part of the next year. Like Kawhi, we're saying, is he going to come back by March or April? Well, Brady came all the way back, and it looks like he's moving pretty well.
Yeah.
So I'm going to give him high marks for that pass. And then how great, what are you doing?
I was just trying to, it's probably like 6 or 7 months.
Okay.
That he had.
Right,
I think it's March. Yeah, it's February, right?
Yes, he had it right after the parade.
The boat parade,
right? And he said he got COVID right off the parade, so he probably had to quarantine for a while before he could have surgery.
Correct.
But it's a pretty quick turnaround as they go. And I know he's just a quarterback, but he looked like he was moving pretty well. Okay, then the second touchdown pass to Gronk. This is 6:28 left in the third quarter.
This is a Bear defense, Skip. They stretched it.
Okay, but you want to talk about rapport. You want to talk about veteran genius throw on both their parts where they read it, saw it, and knew exactly what was happening. Donovan Wilson is going to blitz out of the slot. He's the safety.
Well, he's lined up head up Gronk. This is what we call a Bear stretch defense, Skip. The Chicago Bears made this famous, the 46 defense. So when they got Donovan Wilson lined up head up over Gronk, they got D-Law outside. Brady knows one of those guys is going to come, and one of those guys are going to cover Gronk. So what Gronk does, he turns like he's going to block D-Law. D-Law's going to get ready to come, and then he takes off. Not Gronk.
Because he had to read it too. But you trust that he's going to read it. And then look at the throw Brady makes off his back foot with the safety in his face, and he got knocked down on the play. Donovan Wilson knocked him down, as you can see. And to get enough juice on the ball to get it there off your back foot.
That's a zero coverage play. There's nobody in the middle field. Everybody's locked up.
Well, now it's up to DeMarcus Lawrence to run with Gronk, and he can't.
Plus, Skip, he's at a disadvantage because what? He's already lined up on the outside.
Okay.
So once Gronk fakes at him, and he's like, okay, I'm going to go blitz now. I'm a bull Gronk.
Okay.
Gronk's up inside.
All right. So in the midst of all their penalties and everything that went wrong, finally, the GOAT gets the ball back with 1:24 left, and he even has to overcome a Donovan Smith left tackle false start, which messed him up and made it first and 15.
Made him use the timeout.
And they had to use their timeout. So now, from that point on, that's 55 seconds left. He has no more timeouts.
Right.
And he goes to Gronk. Again, he goes to Old Faithful. And by the way, you realize Cameron Brate and O.J. Howard are really good, and they didn't even get in the game.
Yeah.
Right? Here's to Gronk for 6.
He can't run like he once could, Skip, but he still can catch the ball.
How trustable is he? This is pretty good run after catch, I got to tell you. And my safety took a hit on that one. So the point is, he goes to Gronk, and then obviously the next one's to Godwin, and then it's ball game.
Right.
But did you see what Brady did? Even more, a little more new genius twist to this, to the plot, where at the end, they're out of timeouts, but they have it 1st and 10 at the 18, but they need to kill some clock.
Right.
And so he says, I'm not going to hand it off. I'm not going to trust anybody else.
No.
I'm just going to stand in the shotgun, and I'm going to just throw it out of bounds 3 straight times because I got the ball in my hands.
Yeah, you don't want to, Skip. You don't want to take the chance of running the ball, and then everybody going to be slow getting off the pile, and you mess around and you run out of time. So
I'll hold it in my hands. I got the game in my hands because I know I can take a beat, just take one count and throw it out of bounds. And I'm not even going to try to hit anybody.
No. You just throw it over his head, yeah.
And leave Suck up with a 36-yard field goal.
And you know you got to throw it over his head, because if you throw it out of the back of the end zone, they're going to get you for intentional grounding.
They would.
And so now you can run another 10 seconds off the clock, and so you don't want that. So Brady's doing all the little nuanced things.
It's that master at work,
right,
where you're just watching him at 44, just control the whole football game. And the clutchest player I've ever seen in any sport, he does it again. Now, what's not to like about that body of work over 4 quarters?
Yeah, man, you just told me, now you know how I feel about Tom Brady. I know how you feel about QBR. You still feel the same about it? Now, I've been trying to tell you for years. I say, Skip, this is some bull jive. Because we've seen guys play really well and get 65, 70s, and all of a sudden we see guys not play so well and they get 85. And I'm like, how? That's what I don't like about it, Skip. And they still don't. If you tell me the formula in which you use in order to come up with the numbers, then I'll have a better understanding. But because you're in a dark room and you're like, okay, yeah, I think this is this. I'm like, well, hold on, wait a minute. Now, Skip, I don't believe Brady should have had a 60, a 62, 65, whatever.
65.
If he'd have had a low 70s, I could have dealt with that. Because
by the way, Dak was 74 to 65. Right. Go ahead.
Now, because he did have 2 turnovers. Brady, and I don't believe, like I said, the second turnover, give me those all the time, because he's trying to make a play and he ain't checking it down, worried about his stats. He ain't worried about his QBR. Nope. He ain't worried about his completion percentage. But no, I've been told you that, Skip. Plus, he had 3 touchdowns and 5 red zone trips. He had set up the game-winning field goal. He had a fumble at the 1-yard line by Godwin. I believe he did, because Godwin dropped 2, AB dropped 1, Leonard Fournette dropped 1, and Mike Evans dropped 1. So that's at least 5, Skip, off the top of my head without even looking at it.
Okay. And finally, you want to talk about a throw? We haven't looked yet at the one to AB with 2:45 left in the half when AB got loose.
Yeah.
And you want to talk about a sweet throw that has some juice on it, but is just deadly accurate? How great is this?
Skip, you can't let a man take 5 hitches and stay.
Is that not on the dot?
Yeah, it's
just like a bingo throw.
Skip, you can't let the man take 5 hitches and climb the pocket and don't think somebody's going to be wide open. What the hell?
That's my man, Anthony Brown.
Run this, get this back. Watch how many hitches he take. 1, 2, and climb the pocket. Yeah, he's going to be open just like that.
And he deep him. He sort of slow played him off the line. And then he was gone.
But Skip, so now maybe you'll start to come around on my side about this QBR and not put as much stock. After they gave it to old Brady, they stuck it to old Brady, and now you don't like it so much.
I'm now convinced that they have a different formula just for Brady. And it is severe. It is harsh. They're not grading on the curve. They're going to curve Brady. They're throwing him a big old curve ball.
I've been trying to tell you this, Skip. You ain't want to listen to me. But I needed them to stick it to old Brady for you to come around to my side and see what's going on.
65, seriously. If you said that was a 90, I'd say, I got you.
No, Skip, but I thought he would be in the 70s because of the 2 interceptions. That took away. Now, if he'd had 1 interception, okay, I thought he'd have been maybe even low, maybe 80. But with 2 interceptions, and the way he played, 379, like I said, but he was going to be well over 400. Had Chris Godwin not dropped those balls, AB dropped that ball, he was going to be well over 400. But Skip, remember yesterday, I told you, I said, AB going to get 100 yards.
You said that.
I know AB going to get 100 yards.
I think you also said on this show yesterday, if memory serves, that Tom Brady is more likely to throw 3 interceptions than 3 touchdowns. Yeah. And he should have had 5 touchdowns, and he should have had no interceptions.
He should have, yeah. And he was, what was he, 4-2? I was like, dang.
Well, was there due on that? I'm going to let you off
it wasn't due. It wasn't due.
I'll let you off the hook, because I got enough.
Yo, you got enough?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, guys, we are sticking with this game, because did last night prove that the Cowboys were being underrated?
Absolutely.
That's next.
Absolutely.
No mercy, no mercy, no mercy, and I won't back down.
Now, the Cowboys proved they shouldn't have been this week's biggest underdog after keeping it close with the defending champs all night. Dak Prescott even had Dallas up late, and the defense showed up and got 4 turnovers in the 2-point loss. So, Shannon, After what you saw last night, do you think you underestimated the Cowboys?
No, I overestimated how good the Bucs would look. I thought they would be a fine oil machine considering what I saw the last game when they played the Houston Texans. Obviously, I believe the Cowboys are going to be a much better team than the Texans, but Tom Brady looked like he was in mid-season form. The defense is what I was most disappointed in. And so with that being said, Skip, how many more games do you expect Dak Prescott to throw for over 400 yards? For them to get 4 turnovers from their defense, a team has 11 penalties and 5 to 6 drops. You don't expect that to happen very often.
I can see a bunch of 400s coming.
I can see a bunch of losses coming. Yeah, so no, I didn't underestimate them because guess what? We thought their record was going to be after one game. Skip Bayless. We thought they were going to be 0-4.
Yep.
0-1. What are they? 0-1. We don't do moral victories. The one thing that we don't do. What's our motto? At Undisputed, no more victories. I mean, I know you get a couple of those. You feel happy. Ernestine tell you to skip. You did well today. You should be you should be proud of yourself after you take a beat down every day.
She always tells me, why don't you take it a little easier on him? Give him a break one day.
So with that being said, Skip, look, I think it's going to be a whole different. That was Tampa. I mean, Tampa. I'm surprised at Tampa defensively, and then how poorly offensively the turnovers. I'm like, that's not a Tom Brady. When was the last time Tom Brady had 4 turnovers in a game? His team, he threw 2. I mean, like I said, the interceptions, I don't think Leonard Fournette's going to, have too many balls carrying off his hand. And I don't care about the one he threw in the end zone because I would rather have him. He could have 12 of those. I'm good with that. Just don't check the ball down and throw the ball short when you know you need to get the ball in the end zone with no time on the clock. But, Skip, for me, look, the Cowboys were the Cowboys for one night. Skip, we've seen this before. We've seen them have these incredible highs in order to just go back to be careful. You'd be 0-2.
Maybe. And then we're going to be 12-5.
Now you Skip.
I laid it out for you yesterday, and I feel better than ever about that.
So let me I want to make sure I'm hearing you correctly.
Yes.
Even if you go 0-2, and you got 15 games to go, you're going to go 12-3 over those next 15 games.
Here are the next 3 after that. Philadelphia at home, Carolina at home, at Giants. Win, win, win. I gave you the L at New England, but then at Minnesota, we can win that game. You saw what we did last night against the defending champs. You know what? I might be underselling 12-5. They might be 13-4 before this is over.
Oh, so now y'all going to be challenging Tampa for the best record in the
Shannon
NFC.
Sharpe. You were cowering last night up in your palatial estate. You were on the edge of your seat saying, Lord, have mercy on me.
I got that Brady guy on my side.
No, yeah. Well, you were afraid that I had that Dak guy on my side as we came to these seats today. And the point is, I loved everything I saw about my team. They were even better than I thought they were going to be, and I thought 12-5. I'm going to frame this for you. Tom Brady is now 6-0 against the Dallas Cowboys in his career. I believe he would rather beat the Cowboys, or let's just say it this way. The team that he most wants to beat, obviously, on this schedule this year is at New England. He wants Belichick. But the second most team that he wanted to beat was that team last night. I think he hates all things Dallas Cowboys. I think he hates America's team. I think he despises Jerry Jones' mouth and audacity and egomania.
Right.
And all things Dallas, because it's a lot of sizzle and not enough steak.
Right.
Brady's about the steak, even though he doesn't eat the steak.
Right.
He's about the steak. And so he drives a stake through Dallas's heart every time he plays them. And I think you got Brady at his all-time greatest last night, even at age 44. So you have to frame the fact that we did all that. We had a late lead with 1 minute and 24 seconds left. We were ahead. And what did I tell you yesterday? I said, all I care about tonight is that we win respect and credibility. I wrote off the game because there's one man in sports I don't bet against, especially on banner night at Tampa. I'm not going to bet against the GOAT. And in the end, the GOAT got them. So in the end, that game boiled down to I had Dak Prescott and they had Tom Brady.
And I had Tom Brady.
Okay? You had Tom Brady.
Yeah,
this will be the last time you have Tom Brady. because he's going to come back to haunt you just the way my Cowboys.
Well, as long as whoever you pick it, I'm picking. As long as you got somebody, I'm picking.
All I know is my team closed as a 9-point dog last night.
They did. I saw that. It went to 9.
By far the biggest dog of this opening weekend.
True.
And all I know is that my team did that without their best offensive lineman, Zach Martin.
He wasn't going to catch no touchdowns.
Well, he's a future Hall of Famer.
Yeah, but he ain't going to catch no touchdowns.
He is their best road-grading run blocker. And if they had him last night, I suggest to you that Zeke would have had more than, 33
I don't believe he would have.
Yeah.
Vita Vea was going to let that happen. Susan wasn't going to let that happen, Skip.
Zach Martin is serious business.
Yeah, Vita Vea was serious. Skip, but here's the thing, though. But you keep saying we underestimated them. They did exactly what they lost. We expected them to lose.
Okay. They also lost 1/3 of their receiving trio. Michael Gallup, who was doing damage early, turned his ankle. I hope he'll be ready and can return.
What about Bucs defense? Did they lose anybody?
Well, they did. They were down, obviously, Murphy Bunting and their starting safety, Jordan Whitehead.
Okay.
I got that. But my point was, we were 9-point dogs. And without Zach Martin and ultimately Michael Gallup, we did that. With a field goal kicker coming off back surgery, he misses a 31-yarder, then he misses a 60-yarder that he often has made in his career, and he duck hooked.
Well, they dodged the bullet on that, Skip, because you gave the ball to the Bucs at the 50-yard line.
They did not cash off it. It ended up being the Hail Mary.
Yes.
Okay? And remember, he even missed an extra point that would have tied the score at 14. So I can make the case that my field goal kicker, coming off back surgery, left 7 points on the table, and we lost 31-29. Well, what's not to love about that?
Well, because you lost. There's nothing to love about Skip. I remember growing up as a kid, and I was like, Granny, can we get that? It's on sale. Granny, like, I ain't got no money. It don't matter if they're giving it away. Yeah, we can get it. Okay, you didn't win. Regardless of how well Dak played, how good the defense looked, at the end of the day, guess where you came last night? That's why I stayed open. That's why I stayed open, because I knew you was coming to get them old hot L's.
Really?
Yeah, I knew you were coming.
I think we skipped Club Shannon.
No, you didn't. No, you can't skip.
Because we knew we actually won.
You can skip the line because you're regular. You and old Dak and Jared, y'all regulars. Y'all skip the line.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My defense, I told you, will be 50% better. And you know what?
They look better.
I think it's 75%.
They look better.
And I'm going to quote the great Tom Brady after the game. This is a quote from him.
What do you say?
That's a solid defense. That's what he said. He used the word S-O-L-I-D about my Cowboys defense that was historically bad a year ago. He said, that's a solid defense. That's got to be horrifying to you.
But I know what he's...
A solid defense?
Excuse me. When he was talking about the Ravens, he never said solid. He said that was a great defense. When he talked, I heard him talk about others. When he talked about the Bears, he said that's a great defense. He said y'all solid.
Yeah.
Yeah, y'all solid.
Hey, I realize we don't have Ray Lewis, but we do have Micah Parsons, and you could even see last night he is changing the way they play defense.
Tom Brady had him spinning like a top last night too.
Okay, all right. Occasionally he did. It was his first game ever.
Skip, but he's going to have to learn. If I got the hook, let's get to the hook. You can't make everybody else's plays. Make your plays, Skip. Look at it.
He's a baby. He's a baby. He's a talented
baby. It's going to slow down, but he's going to have to learn, Skip.
He had a pressure. He got in the backfield. He's rushing the passer. He's blowing up running backs in the hole. He's just everywhere. And they utilized him just in bits and pieces because they're running in Jalen Smith and Van Der Esch and sort of alternating linebacker core.
Yeah, but Skip, he's going to have to learn. He's going to have to come up with a move. You just can't just... The rushes that he used in college to get sacks, they won't get it. They get him stopped at the line of scrimmage against these offensive tackles. Okay. Because these guys are really good.
Yep. I believe when this game ended, Shannon Sharpe, the TV was already turned down, but he turned it off or cut it off, as you might say.
No, I wanted to hear what Tom said.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I want to hear what Tom said.
Okay. But I believe when you finally, your head hit that pillow, you were like, oh, bleep.
Nope. I was like, man, Tom, you did it again. Yeah. Thank you. I said, so many times you've done it. Oh, so many times you've done it to me.
I got to live with those Cowboys all year long.
Now you did it for me.
Yep.
Yep.
This was a tour de force by my team.
Justin Herbert.
You know what? They announced to the National Football League last night, force to be reckoned with on both sides of the ball.
Tom Brady threw for 379. Justin Herbert good for 4.
Really? Okay.
Justin Herbert good for 4.
Huh. Well, Dak's good for 4 against the Chargers, too.
Joey Bosa going to get him by two or three times.
We'll see about that.
Yeah.
Did Shaq Barrett get him 2 or 3 times?
Got
him once. Okay.
I think
did JPP get him 2 or 3? No, he got him none.
Pressured
Vita Vea get him?
Got a couple of
got him none. Did Sue get him? Got him none.
Hold on. But what did JPP got a holding call on Tyron Smith?
Yep.
Vita Vea got a holding call on Connor Williams. Made y'all set up for a field goal. Y'all might have had a touchdown.
They are the most hellacious pass rush in pro football, and my quarterback lived to tell. 403.
There's an O in there somewhere too. There's an O in the W column.
Really?
4003.
Really?
That's what you got.
Yep.
0 in the dub, 1 in the L.
Moral victory.
No, we don't do skip this.
My team.
You do realize this is a professional sport that people get paid to play.
Yep.
There are no moral victories.
Yep. Measuring stick game, said Jerry Jones. We got to see what we're made of. They're made of the right stuff.
Well, hold on.
I'm going to have a great year.
Let me ask you a question, Skip. How would the story been written if David had almost beaten Goliath? Would they have said? Would the Palestinians have said? Would they have said? But we had a moral victory. David did a good job.
What if he'd hit Goliath right between the eyes with that stone, that slingshot stone, and Goliath shook it off and got back up? Then that'd be the story. That's what happened last night.
Exactly.
Goliath got dropped on his behind last night, but the GOAT said, "I got this."
No. Skip. The story.
All right, let's keep this conversation going, guys.
Because
David won. Skip, that
you
the
didn't
Bucs
win.
will still run the table this season. We'll dive into that next.
No, you didn't.
No mercy, no mercy, no mercy, and I won't back down.
Now, this offseason, Skip has said that Tom Brady and the Buccaneers could go undefeated during the regular season and then go on to win the Super Bowl. Last night, it took a late game-winning drive from Brady to get the Bucs the 2-point win and the start off on the right foot. So, Skip, do you feel better or worse about the Bucs going 20-0 this year?
I feel equally strong as I did yesterday after what I saw last night, because I'm going to say it again, my Cowboys were shockingly better than even I thought they were. They gave Brady and company all they wanted. But in the end, I saw the greatest quarterback ever playing at his greatest at age 44. What's not to love about that? I'm going to say it again. By some measurements, the Bucs play the easiest schedule in the NFL this year because they finished second last year in the division to New Orleans. So they got some breaks. They do get to play NFC least teams, starting with my Cowboys, which may be as tough a game as they're going to have all year. I realize there's some trap games. There are some landmines on this schedule. At Rams, I got you. At Foxborough, I got you. Buffalo at home. You think at Indy, I don't, because it's Carson Wentz versus Tom Brady. I got that one. So my point is, they played the easiest schedule, and Fox Bet already says they're going to be favored in every game. Well, what would be Brady's crowning achievement? At the end of his legacy, what would he be the most possessed to pull off? It would be 20-0. Because now you've even extended it to 17 games.
Right.
So it's not 19-0 as they hoped to go back in 2007 when they lost, obviously, the first Eli game. But this one is 20-0. And don't think Brady hasn't given a lot of thought to 20-0. Even though he's obviously one game at a time. And as he said after the game, we have a whole lot to clean up.
And then one game at a time. I heard Julian Edelman says once they were finished to see they win the Super Bowl, he automatically looks up and see where the next Super Bowl is being held.
Okay.
And writes that down. Okay. So he doesn't take it just one game.
But obviously you have to, or you're going to trip over somebody that you're not taking seriously enough.
Well, I think that you always take everybody seriously. But here's the thing, Skip, is that what you saw last night is that you don't automatically pick up where you left off. And while the Buccaneers say they've gotten better, they're going to be a better team, so has everybody else. Now, it's just not only the Buccaneers that's allowed to get better. The other teams also had an offseason. They also got the draft, also got free agency. Yep. So they also get an opportunity to get better. Okay. So with that being said, I just don't see it happening. Too many, it's just so hard to maintain that level for, what now, 17 more weeks. It's virtually impossible. Skip, you're going to have it where your defense just doesn't have it or your offense just doesn't have it. And somebody gets you. Now, that's not to say they can't win the Super Bowl.
Yep.
But I just don't see them going 20-0. And it's 14. I like 14-3. I'm going to stick with 14-3. Yesterday, Skip, you remember I told you, I said, I'm playing at 13-4. 14-3, I'll go 14-3. But they ain't going 20-0.
Okay. Do I love their back end of their defense? I don't love it, but I still like it because I'm going to say it one more time. Dak Prescott was spectacular last night. He was accurate, and he was balling. He is a playmaker. He is a battler. They got Dak Prescott right between the eyes. And remember, they were without their starting safety, Jordan Whitehead, and then right away, their starting corner, Murphy Bunting, goes out. They hope he'll be back, dislocated elbow. You say it could be a month. They're saying...
sometimes it's longer than that, Skip. I mean, they give you a timetable of 4 to 6 weeks. I was 4 weeks. I missed a month, including actually, obviously, the game that I was in might happen like the start of the second quarter.
Jamel Dean had to come in. I'm going to remind you, he did start 7 games last year. He did start every playoff game at cornerback last year. He pick-sixed Aaron Rodgers in that same stadium.
But there's a reason why they moved him out of the starting lineup.
They moved him out. They moved Murphy Bunting in. I got that. But they won the Super Bowl last year with Jamel Dean. And Arians was quick to point out, do not underestimate him. Last night he said he's a hell of a football player, and I believe he is. They were picking on him last night because it was hot and it was sweaty. And don't forget, Dallas has 3 stud receivers. Don't tell me that that's not handfuls for
It is, Skip, but I think the thing is with those guys, and the reason why I like their front 7 is that if they don't get pressure, those guys can be had. It's not like they hold up and then allow guys to get closer to the quarterback.
Let's save them in the playoffs. All of a sudden, Shaq started cooking.
Yes.
And JP started cooking. And Sue is in your face. And Vita Vea had just come back, and he's a force in the middle because he weighs like 400 pounds. and he's a sumo wrestler, and you can't.
He's quicker than you think.
He's quicker than you think. He's more athletic than you think.
Yeah.
And he just bulldozes you. Because Connor Williams just simply is not a big enough human to stop him.
And that's the thing, though, Skip, is that when you look at it, just imagine if Dallas doesn't have Ty Smith or Lyle Collins. Now Dak is going to be running for his life like Patrick Mahomes.
He would have been on his back a lot.
So now you get an opportunity to like, okay, we'll stop that initial rush, and now we're gonna see what y'all can do on the back end. And
it was extraordinary how they blocked those things last night. And again, it was still 22 pressures of Dak to only 8 of Tom Brady. Well, remember, Brady only... Okay, so I got DeMarcus Lawrence and Randy Gregory, who had one great rush early and then sort of faded out. And I got Micah Parsons rushing. I've got some firepower, and it didn't manifest itself because that's one of the best pass blocking lines, if not the best in football.
But I think the thing is, Skip, is that Dak, even though they pressured him, they didn't get him off that mark like they had Mahomes running for his life. He's running circles. He started to the left and then rolled back to the right. Give Dallas offensive line credit. They did a better job than I thought they would, especially with Zach Martin not being in there. Zach Martin is a damn good run blocker, but he's a hell of a pass blocker also because you have to be in order for them to move you from guard to right tackle. Because remember, Skip, they kicked him out to right tackle, and then they started winning a few more games. So he's a heck of an offensive lineman. I don't know if they win if he's in there, but the pressure, they did an unbelievable job, and that's what you got to have because your best 2 rushers are edge rushers. And so you needed Lyle Collins, you needed Tyron Smith in order to neutralize that. Tyron Smith did an unbelievable job on the JPP. Lyle Collins did a great job on Shaq, but it was just so, the back end finally held up, made him Dak hold the ball. But Skip, that was another thing. Dak got to throw that ball away. You in field goal range. You can't take that sack. That's a Matt Ryan in the Super Bowl, Skip. Just throw it away. You potentially get a field goal. We might be having a different discussion.
You're up against the GOAT, and you know in your heart of hearts, I got to make one more big play because he's going to go make a bunch of plays.
You know what it is, Skip? The difference with Tom Brady, he realizes sometimes the big plays, is the play that he doesn't make. It's the sack that he doesn't take. It's the force.
He's the greatest.
But see, he learned that from Coach Belichick.
He did.
Coach Belichick makes you make the mistake. I'm not going to make the mistake. You make it.
Live to fight another day. You just have to. I got it. But Dak gets in a battle with the GOAT, and he's thinking, I got to be a playmaker. I got to save the day for my team. And you're probably going to hold it a little too long. But he only went down one time.
But that's Skip. That was the thing, though. He had gotten out of the pocket. Just throw it away. You're out of the pocket now, so you're not going to get it grounded. Once you get thrown past the line of scrimmage, you out of the pocket. We good. But now Skip, you took him out of field goal range.
Okay, I got it. But do you really think Tom Brady is going to let this team rest on any of its laurels?
No, you get, and that's the best part about playing on a Thursday, Skip, because now you get Friday, Saturday, Sunday off. Yep. You come back, get a little watch. I mean, I don't know how BA did it, but we didn't play on Thursday. But I'm assuming you get Friday, Saturday, Sunday off. Maybe you come in and do a little lifting, watch a little tape. You come in and have a light practice, do some running, get the soreness out of you. Probably get the soreness out of you probably Saturday, and then off Tuesday, we back at this thing on Wednesday, ready to go again.
Okay. They're going to go again and again and again. And I give them a great shot of winning every game. And if they win 17 of those games, they're going to have 2 home playoff games. And I ain't betting against Tom Brady in either of those home playoff games.
September 26th, October 3rd. Rams at New England.
Okay. I brought them up. I got it. Trap doors. They could be. I got the GOAT. You want to bet a little do on it right now?
What? No, I already bet they're not going 20-0. I already bet you.
No, those games. I'll take GOAT in those games. Both
okay. Okay. What you want?
Good.
What you want? 2 cases each?
Yep, 2 and 2.
Okay.
2 plus 2 equals 4 more cases for me.
How you gonna feel with old Mac the Magnificent win this one?
Okay, you're over there gloating about, I got old Tom last night because he saved your bacon last night. And now you flipped right around on me and said, I am going to bet 2 cases and 2 cases against the man I tell you on a daily basis you cannot bet against.
Mac the Magnificent.
Mac the Magnificent.
That's what they call him up in New England.
I have never heard that.
Watch it.
The guy who took over when you said Cam should be the starter. You said it's got to be Cam. And now he's the Magnificent.
Well, Cam did say, Cam just did an interview saying that he was surprised and that, the reason why, what you and I was talking about, his aura. But, Skip, he got the number 2 selling jersey.
And?
Mac the Magnificent.
Is that a win? Do you get wins for that? Or
he gonna get a win.
Really?
Biggest win gonna have normally the big wins don't come so early in your career. The biggest win of his career gonna come by 4 games into his career.
Mac the Magnificent, meet Vita Vea, right in your face.
All right, guys, we'll dive deeper into that in just a moment. But NFL Kickoff Week is sponsored by Las Vegas, your home for all live sports, every game, match, race, and competition. It is always on. But coming up next, Eric Dickerson joins us to break down more of last night's game. Don't go anywhere.
And I won't back down.
Last night's NFL season opener did not disappoint. Tom Brady and Dak Prescott both put on shows combining for nearly 800 passing yards and 7 touchdowns. The Cowboys hung in all night and even led with under 2 minutes to go before Brady marched the Bucs down the field for a game-winning field goal to win 31-29. Now joining us is Fox Sports NFL analyst Eric Dickerson. Eric, what was your biggest takeaway from last night?
Well, I think the biggest thing is how well the teams played, not playing during the preseason. I'm big on having your players play during the preseason because you get a chance to get a feel for the game, get a chance to tackle, hit, and the offensive line gets a chance to work with the running game. And, the Cowboys didn't run the football much, but I was surprised how close the game was and how entertaining it was and how well both quarterbacks played. I think, Tom Brady had 2 interceptions, but I'd say they weren't his I can't say they weren't his fault, but they're still interceptions. And the one that Dak threw was a great pass. It just wasn't caught. So I was really shocked how well played the game was. Usually you'll hear, oh, man, they not tackled. Oh, man, he dropped that ball. But they I got to say, it was a good game.
What surprised me, and here's the reason why, ED, and tell me if you agree with me. Anytime you allow 2 quarterbacks to throw the ball over 108 times and you only get 1 sack, you're going to get some fireworks. I mean, Dak Prescott had 58 attempts. He got sacked once. Brady had 50 attempts, and he didn't touch the ground. He got knocked down, but he didn't get sacked, Skip. And when you allow quarterbacks, and Edie, you know this, I don't care how bad you think a quarterback is. If you don't pressure him, he will light you up. And then the greater the quarterback and you don't pressure him, he's really going to light you up. And that's what we saw last night. I was surprised also, Edie, because I like playing. I needed to play. I needed to get my core. I needed to work on my timing with the quarterback. I needed to get my win. And you see a lot of guys cramping. You see a lot of guys going down. You saw a lot of penalties, a lot of clutching, a lot of grabbing because the guys hadn't played a whole lot in meaningful games. Skip, I understand that now the way they're heading, they're going to these joint practices, ED. But joint practices is not game. It's not preseason games. Officials actually call things like they would actually call it in the preseason, like they would the regular season. But last night, Tampa turned the ball over 4 times, 11 penalties, 5 to 6 drops. Defensively, I was shocked with how poorly their back end played. And I was like, Todd Bowles, why do you keep blitzing? Force Dak to throw the ball in the tight windows, because what you're doing is that you're letting him have these easy throws, and he was just taking right quick jailbreak, bubble screen, and it was just wide open there for them. This game, look, I didn't expect it to be the fireworks that it became. I didn't expect almost 1,000 yards of total offense. Both quarterbacks were pretty close. If not for the drops, Tom was going to be well over 400 yards. He was. But yeah, that was the thing that surprised me. I thought there would be more. I thought Tampa would get more pressure on Dak. But 108 pass attempts and only 1 sack. Yeah, I'm not surprised that the guys almost threw for 800 yards passing.
Okay, it is my turn to ask my man Eric Dickerson this question. How about them Cowboys, Eric Dickerson? You're underselling. You saw a team that's going to walk away with the East this year and be a force in the postseason. You saw a tour de force. You saw a team announce to the nation on national TV last night, we are back because Dak is back. Eric, your response to what I just said, please.
Well, I'll say this much. You know, Skip, I've always liked Dak. I like Dak as a quarterback. I liked it when I first saw him here in L.A. when he played the Rams in a preseason game. I like it. I like him as a quarterback. I like the way he handles the field. I like the way he's a leader of his team. One thing about you said earlier, Shannon, about moral victories. A moral victory. There's no such thing. It's like, what they always say? That's what they say to losers. Man, we almost had that one.
Yes.
We wouldn't have ran out of time. We'd have had that. If they wouldn't have called that penalty, we'd have had that. I got to say this for your Cowboys, though, Skip. They did look really good. They looked a lot better than I thought they would look, really. The offensive line played very well against the Tampa Bay's front four. And to me, Dallas is a force to reckon with. If they can keep playing like they played and also run the football, I think the problem with it is, think about this, Skip, Shannon. They only ran the football 11 times. You can't run the football 11 times. You just can't. Not have the kind of season that the Cowboys want to have. Even Tampa ran the football. They're not known to run the football. The Cowboys, even with Dak, they run first, throw second. Last night they would throw, okay. run, throw.
But Eric, no Zach Martin. He's their best road grader. Zeke said last week he's the best player on the entire offense because they run behind Zach Martin. So both Shannon and I thought yesterday they'll probably just abandon Zeke fairly quickly and just throw because they feel like they might be able to pass block a little better than run block against the defense that far and away led the league last year in stopping the run. So my question to you is, in the little bits and pieces you saw Ezekiel Elliott, did you see an improved Zeke? Did you see a more in shape? Did you see a quicker, stronger, maybe even faster Zeke last night?
Funny you say that. It was run on the sidelines where I see the burst that Zeke has. To me, he looks thinner. He looks quicker. Yeah. He looks a lot faster. And that play where they ran the option play, going trying to get into the end zone. You said that you thought a younger Zeke would have scored here. I don't think so. I think the defensive back just made a great play. Sometimes you have to give it to the defense. The tight end, it's the tight end's fault. Yeah. He would have walked in if the tight end would have made the block. Because right there, he is running. The cut back inside shows how quick his feet still is, but you've got to get the block by the tight end. This is on the tight end right here. But most definitely, I see the Zeke that I saw 3 or 4 years ago.
Do you? Okay. Well, I'll take that to my bank. But my problem with that play was that the kid who made the play got elevated from the practice squad. He was undrafted out of UConn. His name is Andrew Adams, and he gets thrown into the fire against the Dallas Cowboys. He just had a holding, like a pass interference penalty on Blake Jarwin when he was running a crossing route. Remember, just grabbed him and held him. And yet, that's like the play of plays because that thwarted my team taking over the game. That's the first drive of the second half. Look, Eric, maybe I'm overestimating, maybe my mind's eye, I'm like seeing fairy tales, but once upon a time, number 21, when he played at The Ohio State, he was unstoppable. In that situation, he either made you miss or he made you pay because he would just bulldoze you. He would just run through you because he would not be denied from pay dirt.
Skip, all the tight end has to do is go at the block and upfield shoulder.
That's
it's a walk-in,
Okay, I got it. Okay, but that's done. That happened because Blake Jarwin is no blocker. He's more of a Shannon Sharpe.
Skip, but that's a safety. That's not Michael Parsons. That's not Van Der Esch.
Okay, well, he didn't
That's not D-Law.
It looked to me like he didn't even try.
Right, exactly. Okay? Thank you. Tebow, that was old Tebow block.
I knew you were going to say that. I knew you were going to call it a Tebow block. Okay, I'll give you that. But the point is, it is sort of one-on-one on the edge with some undrafted free agent who's bounced around the league for 6 years, and you lose badly. You don't even come close. You lose a yard, right? Yeah. But you didn't even make it back to the line of scrimmage. And I must admit, given what I used to think Zeke was, I was a little disappointed.
Well, you can't be, Skip, because even guys who are free agent who never played in the NFL, they make great plays sometimes. They really do. And the one thing about a running back is when you've got to start out and cut back in on a defender, that play goes to the defender. He's making Zeke start outside and have to try to cut back. He can't use his leverage. You know, he almost loses it. I have to stop and then cut. Look at it. He has to go out. Now I got to stop and cut back. That's all to the defender. I got to get the defender credit. It's all on the tight end.
Exactly. Because all he has to do, Skip, if he goes to his upfield shoulder, if Zeke's going to race him to the corner. Now, Zeke, you're going to like, ooh, look at Zeke's burst to the corner.
And if he cuts it way back, Antoine.
And he gets pushed outside.
Yes. Okay. All you got to do is just stay on his upfield shoulder and let Zeke rush him to the corner. Okay. It was perfect.
Okay. Eric, I guarantee you that 10 days from now, Zach Martin will be back because he went through COVID. So he will be eligible and I hope healthy again. And he will be in the starting lineup at Chargers. They are the Clippers to your Rams, right? The Chargers. But they're about as good as the Clippers are right now. Yeah. They're coming, right?
Yeah.
So it will be a very difficult road game for my team to win. But I guarantee you, if you're right about Zeke being 3 or 4 years ago, Zeke, he's going to get a bunch of carries in that game, and I will bet you they balance it up because they will run behind Zach. Zeke behind Zach.
Well, you definitely won't be fooling with Joey Bosa because Joey Bosa is an animal. You know, he can bend that edge. He's as good as we have in the NFL at putting pressure on the quarterback. And they have Derwin James.
Yep.
He's a difference maker in that secondary. And they got your guy. Isn't your guy still there?
No, he's not there.
He
went to your team.
He went to the Broncos?
Yeah.
Oh, it's over.
Yeah, it's
We're going to beat y'all, too.
Okay. No, I'm sorry. He went to the Raiders.
Oh.
Casey Hayward's talking about. I went to the Raiders.
We're going to beat y'all.
Okay, so wrap it up for us, Eric Dickerson. My Dallas Cowboys will go how far this year after what you saw last night?
You know, it's hard to say after watching one football game, but if you had to just go off one game only, I would say that most definitely I think the Dallas Cowboys win the NFC East for sure. I mean, they looked really, really good against a team that you say that's going to go 20-0. I don't believe they're going to go 20-0. I think that's impossible.
In just a minute.
But
if
I
you're
really
right
believe
about
that
my
the Cowboys,
he's going to owe me a mountain of Diet Mountain Dew. A mountain.
Well, what happens when you see how Washington football team looks on Sunday? How they look? What about the Eagles?
They get to play the Chargers, so we'll see how they
do. Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Well, Eric, stick around. There is plenty more to break down from this game. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
No mercy, no mercy, no mercy, and I won't back down.
On this offseason, Skip has said that Tom Brady and the Buccaneers could go undefeated during the regular season and then go on to win the Super Bowl. And earlier in the show, Skip doubled down that Brady would make it happen after that 2-point win over his Cowboys last night. Eric Dickerson is still with us. So, Eric, can you see the Bucs going undefeated?
I know Skip has a man crush on Tom Brady. I know he loves him to death. But absolutely not. You know, it's hard to go undefeated. I mean, the Patriots did it during the regular season, got to the Super Bowl and lost, so they was, 16-1, whatever, 18-1. But let me tell you, the problem with trying to go undefeated is trying to stay healthy. It's hard to try to stay healthy a whole season. I mean, right now you have Jordan Whitehead out. I mean, when he comes back, somebody else will go down. And that's a big part of football, is staying healthy through a full season. And now you've got an extra game. That extra game, that means a lot. It really does, because now when you get halfway through the season, the old season, you had 16 games, like, whoo, man, we're halfway home. That one game means a lot. And for me, Tampa, they have a weak division. I mean, they got the Bucs. They got themselves. They got the Falcons. They got the Panthers. They got the Saints. The Saints are not the same without Drew Brees, for sure. So that won't be as tough as it used to be. But still, I cannot see them, going 20-0. No way. You know what? I'll take some Mountain Dew on that bet. No way, it's not going to happen.
I agree with you, ED. And we see it's not as easy, because as the Bucs believe they've gotten better, they've improved. All the other teams that's on their schedule believe they've gotten better, they've improved. And you just don't pick up where you left off. And we saw that. The Bucs took very good care of the football last year, and they turned it over 4 times. They had 11 penalties. Now, I'm not saying they're going to turn it over 4 times and they're going to have 11 penalties every game, but I believe there's an opportunity that the Cowboys, somebody getting the ball into the red zone, they're going to have better success than what the Cowboys had last night once they got the ball into the red zone. And then, Skip, going undefeated, a lot of things have to go your way, and it just takes you being off. And, ED, you know this. You just have to be off just a little bit, and somebody gets you. And now, because you're the reigning Super Bowl champs, and you have that undefeated mark on your resume, everybody wants to be the team that put that blip, don't want to put that one in the L column. They want to be, that's somebody's Super Bowl, Skip. When they play you, not only do they measure themselves, they're like, this is our Super Bowl, right? Coach is like, hey, this is our Super Bowl right here.
They got 16 more Super Bowls.
Basically, that's what you got.
Yep. Okay. Eric Dickerson is in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. My man Shannon Sharpe is in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Everything you just said is almost certainly correct about how there is no way in heaven or hell that this team can go 20-0. I hear everything you just said. Injuries, just having one slightly off day or off night. I get it, I got it, and I don't get it, because in the end, this quarterback is playing his greatest football at age 44. This quarterback has become a force of nature, legacy nature, because he is now all about building a monument. It's not egomania, it's just a competitive monument that he's trying to build. And he's won 7 Super Bowls, and I think they're going to win an 8th this year. I think he's going to be the regular season MVP at age 44. That's just a gut feeling. They are set up this year. If ever anybody could go 20-0, they are set up to do it, because they play by several measurements the easiest schedule in the entire National Football League. It's almost unfair. You just won the Super Bowl, but because you finished second in your division, it easied up your schedule. You get to play the NFC least this year, and you could argue that maybe that game last night was one of the toughest games they're going to play, because I think my team is dangerously underrated.
That's what happened to us, Skip.
Okay.
In '97, Kansas City won the division. We won the Super Bowl because we lost the division. And we started out 13-0.
Okay, got it. So Fox Bet has Tom Brady and company already favored to win every regular season game. Does that mean they're going? Well, obviously, you now have to go do it.
Correct.
And the injury gods have to smile upon you, because if you get decimated in the secondary, at some point, the pass rush will not be able to overcome the back four, right?
Right.
So they're off to the races at the secondary because they're a little beat up.
Right.
But we don't know about Sean Murphy-Bunning's elbow. You say maybe a month at best.
At best,
okay?
the best case scenario is a month.
But Jamel Dean got to play last night after he got beaten out, and all he did was start 7 games last year in the regular season, and he started all 4 postseason games. Well, it's not like he hadn't been there and done that, because he played at a high level in the postseason. And as Eric pointed out, Whitehead was out last night, but they love that Mike Edwards, and I thought he played pretty well last night.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's not the greatest secondary, But the front seven is just...
You have to neutralize them.
I just don't know. I know Washington's is right up there, but I'll take Tampa's over Washington's. And then look at Brady's weapons. I don't... Obviously, it's the greatest collection of weapons he's ever had, but I'm not sure I've ever seen a deeper receiving core in my life covering your game of pro football. Because look what happened last night. Did you see O.J. Howard in the game? No, he didn't get in the game. Was Cameron Brate in the game? No, but they're healthy. They can play. They're really good.
I think he got in one play. He blocked.
Okay.
While Grunt went out and almost caught.
Okay. Scotty Miller. Scotty Miller is a weapon. He got in one play and caught a ball, and it got called back on the penalty, right? And that was the end of him. Tyler Johnson made a huge catch in the playoff game as a rookie at New Orleans last year. He got one target thrown to him. It was incomplete. But he can play. That little Jalen Darden they drafted out of North Texas in the 4th round, Brady's been raving about him. You think he's going to see the field? My point is, they are loaded with weapons. You said, Rojo better be, okay. Well, you got Leonard Fournette, and now you got Gio Bernard, and you still got Keyshawn Vaughn, my little man from Vanderbilt, on the practice squad. You're loaded with weapons. Your offensive line, it might be the best in football. It just might be.
But when I look at this, I think the thing that can trip them up is that their inability. I don't think they're a very good running team. And they're going to rely so much on Tom Brady. And when you throw the ball as much as you do, you give teams an opportunity, ED, to get to your quarterback. You keep throwing the ball 50 times, they're going to come up with a scheme to be able to get home a few of those times.
Shannon, if Ronald Jones can hang on to it, he can run it. Well, if he can hang on to it.
He can't hang on to it.
Hey, what's not to love? If ever a team had a chance to go, obviously now to 20-0, go undefeated for a whole year since the Miami Dolphins, it's got to be this team. I like their chances. I don't know. Luck is going to have to prevail, right?
Yeah, once you start winning games, I remember, you look at your schedule. Ain't nobody thought the Giants were 5-8 when we played them. Ain't nobody thought about the Giants going to beat us after we had just come from 14 down to beat Kansas City. We had gone through all the toughest schedule, and we look at it like, and everybody's like, this is the Giants. They had already chalked that one up for us.
Okay.
And then lo and behold, we went.
Tell me this. You don't think Tom Brady is looking down the list saying, I got a shot here to do something nobody's ever done?
Of course.
Whew. I don't know. So I get your conventional wisdom, but I think my unconventional wisdom is going to prevail.
Of course he is.
And I won't back down.
Skip told us before the season that CeeDee Lamb was primed to break out this year, and last night the receiver went off. Lamb finished with 104 yards and a touchdown to go along with the Cowboys' key catch and run play to set up the then game-leading field goal. So, Shannon, can you see him being a breakout star?
By breakout, we talking about Pro Bowl? All Pro? Because I don't see that, Skip.
Pro Bowl.
First of all, no. First of all, Amari Cooper. I don't know why people are so anxious, so excited to put him in front of Amari. He can't see Amari. I know Jerry Jones says this guy has talent, and I know Dak says he's walking up under the ball. And Michael Irvin is praise and kudos. He wears the number 88. But CeeDee Lamb cannot see Amari Cooper. Amari Cooper is the Cowboys' best receiver. Now, I get it. Sometimes on the road, Skip, he'll disappear. But with Amari Cooper, you saw what he did last night. Now, CeeDee Lamb had 15 targets. Are you telling me he's going to get 15 targets every game? He only caught 7 of them. 7, that's not good.
Well, it's because he dropped a bunch of them.
Okay then.
Yep.
So for me, Skip, look, Amari Cooper is their best receiver. And Amari Cooper is going to continuously get their best DB. They're going to be a time where maybe CeeDee Lamb surpasses Amari. But it's not now. It's not this year, and it's probably not going to be next year. Amari Cooper is technically and fundamentally sound. There are not 5 people that can run routes better than Amari Cooper in the NFL.
I give you that.
So he is not going anywhere.
But who made the biggest catches last night? Who had the lightning plays last night? Who caught the first touchdown pass of 22, making up for his early drops? And who caught the big 31-yarder on 3rd down that got them in field goal range?
But Skip, do you see Amari, that comeback he ran on Jamal Dean?
There's nothing like it. There's not a better route runner. He's got sweet feet.
He does.
Okay, I got it. What did I tell you before the year? And you scoffed at me. I said CeeDee Lamb will be back there returning punts. What did you see last night? He was back there returning punts. He is a game breaker. He is a difference maker.
You asked him for trouble, Skip.
Okay, I got it, but he is run after catch. He is physical and he's powerful and he is fearless. Maybe to a fault. I got you. You're exposing him to some real trouble back there, but they just thought we need a play made, and that's one way to get a play made because you know what happened in like Deshaun Jackson's early year. You just put him back there. If you need the game broken open, we need a touchdown. We need okay, put him back there and just let him run. He can't run like Tyreek. He can't run like Deshaun. To me, he's a bigger, stronger, more
he's
physical.
more slick. He's more wiggle.
Okay, what do I see early on that's starting to scare me is there's a little Jamar Chase going on here where he's got some demons going on because he had a big drop early fourth quarter against Washington on Thanksgiving. And then last night, early on in that game, we could see him real quick. He dropped a couple balls. One's underthrown a little bit by Dak. If you're the guy I think you are, you have to catch the first one, and you definitely have to catch the second one. This is the first one. Slight underthrow. But you know what? I'm sorry. If you're that guy,
he lost his footing, Skip. I'm going to give him that.
Okay, and then.
But this was the one, Skip. You got to catch this one.
You're running before you're catching.
Right.
Okay, we got that, and yet, then we got the throw. Yeah, we got the throw over the middle into high traffic, and you can't flinch from it, and you get both hands on it, and it might have been Dak's best throw. I agree with you. Yeah. Best throw of the night because it's got some juice on it. And you just, if both hands get on the football, I don't care how much traffic is around you, how shielded you are, you just got to make that catch. That's the kind of breakout catch that I thought we would see. Right. But then he would cancel that one out with the big 31-yarder at the end of the game.
Let me tell you something. With great guys that's run after the catch, they're going to have a lot of drops because they're thinking run after the catch.
You could be right.
You're going to get that a lot.
I told you his last year at the University of Oklahoma with Kyler. Yeah. Lord have mercy. Oh, I'm sorry, with Jalen at that point. But he's all they got. And they're throwing it to him, and he's running through 5 Texas Longhorns. Well, obviously, these are no longer Texas Longhorns. I got it. But again, you want to talk about big-time run after catch, he will continue to emerge. So who emerged in Hard Knocks? Well, I was a little bit surprised because I don't know what he's like off the field. He was a little more soft-spoken
He's
than
a little bit more quiet and reserved,
And he was a little more humble, almost to a fault, because I don't get a lot of diva receiver in him. I don't get big personality, But
Skip, did you bet? I mean, what about Coop? Coop, like, I don't really like to talk, but Dak got me riled up. You know what I'm saying? So Dak got me going. Dak's not even playing, Skip. Dak's not even practicing.
Okay, they're kind of two peas in the pod because they're both soft, and CeeDee was genuflecting to Amari, like, teach me, show me the way. You know, it's not like, I'm your equal. He was like the people, right?
Exactly. And Amari Skipper, you know, Amari Harris, Dak is getting Amari riled up, not even practicing, because that's not Amari's nature. Amari says, I don't talk. I just go play. But then Dak, you know, Trayvon started talking. Dak's going back and forth. Amari like, oh, y'all bringing me into it too? Yeah. Okay, well, let's go do this.
Okay, I got it. But the classic Dak quote that you referred to came in episode 2 of Hard Knocks when he was just standing on the side watching Cooper Rush throw a go ball. To CeeDee Lamb, and he said, it's like he walks under go balls because he's not, it doesn't look like he's running that hard or that fast, but he is moving.
Skip, it's the same thing. The 7 route, which is a corner route that he threw for the touchdown. You look at Amari, you look at like, well, damn, he's not even, and next thing you know, he's on there for a 28-yard touchdown. But Cockrell has to understand, Skip.
But he's the backup to the backup. So go ahead.
You got to, but Skip, you know your help. Okay, Amari's in that situation. What's the only thing he can run? He can only run an out. Or a 7 route. Okay. I'm going to his hip. I'm gonna run it for him. If he runs the post, I got Winfield Jr. in the post to blow him up. But you just gotta understand. You just gotta understand.
CeeDee breaking out.
He ain't breaking out over Amari. Amari is already out.
All right, guys, we are switching gears because Cam Newton just shared why he thought the Patriots cut him. We'll tell you what he said next.
No mercy, no mercy, no mercy, and I won't back down.
All right, well, Cam Newton just released a sit-down interview with his father today and explained why the Patriots released him, saying his aura was, quote, a gift and a curse. Take a listen.
The reason why they released me is because indirectly, I was going to be a distraction.
Without being the starter?
Without being a starter. If they would have asked me, would I play behind, they said, Cam, we're going to give the team to Matt.
Okay.
You're going to be the second string. We expect you to be everything and some to guide him throughout this tenure.
Okay.
I would have said absolutely,
Cam.
But listen.
Cam.
Listen, the truth of the matter is this. He would have been uncomfortable.
Shannon, what's your reaction to this?
I think there's some truth to that, Skip. I mean, we've talked about it before. It's hard for a franchise quarterback to be a backup. I'm glad Cam put that out there saying that, yes, I'll be a back. I'll be willing to come in and be a backup. I would have been willing to be a backup to Mac Jones. But having a guy that's been a starter that was there, I'm vying for the starting job with him. That's Cam Newton, the aura around him, the personality that's outsized. I believe, Cam, I believe that had something to do with it. I'm not saying that Mac didn't deserve the job, Skip. That's not what you nor I have said. But I do believe Cam Newton sometime is Cam Newton's biggest enemy. Him himself, the personality, the persona that he possesses.
Okay. He also said that it was already happening, that he saw Mac slowly but surely taking over the job because he was getting more reps in practice.
Right.
And Cam also said that they completely cleared him to go get a second opinion. Remember when there was the misunderstanding? Right. And he mentioned that he has a Liz Frank injury, which, as you know, that's serious business that he wanted to get a second opinion on.
Right.
So my only fear here, I don't want to see Cam talk his way completely out of the league.
Correct.
Because that can happen.
Absolutely. And a lot of people thought that, you know, Cam was on borrowed time anyway, Skip. It wasn't a whole lot of teams beating down his doors 2 years ago. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. Does someone get injured and they bring Cam in for a starting job? I don't know if you bring him in for a backup job, Skip.
All right, guys, that's all we have for you today. Thank you for spending your Friday morning with us. We'll be back
Cowboys
Monday at 9:30 Eastern.